Alright, hey guys, how's it going? I wasn't planning on doing this, but I thought, why the fuck not, right? You know, actually what happened was, I had a really fun time last week, talking about, talking about Mother. And several people requested I do more video game streams where I talk about the history of video games, and the thing is, I have a bunch of presentations already sort of planned that I can go through. I wasn't going to do this tonight, but what happened is I was actually getting ready I'm on boomer hours, so I was getting ready to go to sleep, and I was talking to Sinatra. So I'm trying to get my fucking mic now set up here. And I just got so fucking hype. I started to describe The Witcher to him and how much I love the fam. You know, Geralt, Yen, and Ciri. How much I love them and how they're my favorite family in media. Because they're weird and bizarre and they're not a typical family. But I realized there's no way I can describe the fam without seriously discussing it. Sorry, I still got some, like, music playing. We're gonna turn that down. Anyway, hey guys, how's everybody doing tonight on this Friday evening? Would you all like to fucking discuss? Announce the stream on Twitter. Real quick, I will if it should have done it automatically, but I will do that very quickly. Where's the link? Anyway, so I thought I would talk about The Witcher tonight, just for a little bit. Probably by a little bit, you know how that is with me. Yeah, let's talk about The Witcher. Did I not already, it didn't go up on Twitter Inherent? Alright, there it is. That's not what it says it is, but what, oh, fuck you. I hate Twitter. Okay, I don't know how to, whatever, I'm having issues. Shite. Okay, now I'm put off. What I did think I would do though, guys, is I thought, since I'm here, I'd have my nice, Shawnee vest on, since we're gonna talk about The Witcher. I'm not gonna do this very long. It's only gonna be on, like, for a couple minutes, because it's actually getting quite warm here. It's finally, summer has arrived, and I can't wear this vest for, and I couldn't remember where the undershirt was. It's around here somewhere, but I'm in the process of moving, so, like, I was like, ooh, shit, I don't know where anything is. But here's the Shawnee vest, sort of. Not completely buttoned, because I don't give a fuck. And Cyberpunk 2077 hype, how many years has it been since we heard anything about it? That's a good question. It's been a while since we have heard anything about Cyberpunk, so I'm not entirely sure, but thank you for the $2, Fedora. Yeah, anyway, I was talking to Sinatra, and I was getting so excited just describing The Witcher to another person, and by that I mean not just the games. If you guys are here just for the games, no, oh, no. No, I'm a massive fan of all of it, and this webcam's not staying on either for a long time. Fuck that. Yeah, I'm a huge fan. This is not my only Witcher cosplay. I also do Triss. Again, this is just the vest. I'm not putting on the whole goddamn thing, and this is coming off real short. Anyway. Oh, and of course, because we're going to be talking about the Witcher tonight, I have with me, and it's a Friday, a nice bottle of Sobieski, Polish vodka. So, hell yeah, guys, let's talk about The Witcher, the Wiedźmin. Should be fun. I want to go over, I have panels on a whole bunch of this shit, and I figure why not just go over them? Also, in my opinion, this is my favorite fantasy universe of all time, pretty much. Actually, God, this is really fucking hot, so, ready? Oh, now I'm a titty streamer, except for underneath, it's a Homestuck. Oh, no. That's not very good at all. Oofed. Only other thing I wanted to do for having the webcam on is to show a couple of other things. I am a little bit of a fan. In particular, so these are all out of order now, so like, wait, now they're in order. This is The Witcher, right here. If you guys have not read the books, here they are for the most part. Actually, I don't have the other collection of short stories here with me, but I do want to point this out, because this is always funny to me, or this kind of stuff. I have a, well, my ex-best friend, she, who decided not to be my best friend because she became a Hillary supporter. Oh no, oh no. Oh god, now I'm really worried about this. Okay, so she got to meet J.K. Rowling. She's a huge Harry Potter fan. Harry Potter's her favorite thing. Witcher is my favorite fantasy universe. And she got to meet J.K. Rowling. She dressed up as Luna Lovegood, and she looks like Luna Lovegood. And J.K. Rowling, so it was right at the release of the 7th book in the Harry Potter series, right? And so she showed up, everyone else in the whole line shows up with their brand new pristine copies, not those, their brand new pristine copies of the 7th Harry Potter book, because they want to sell them, for the most part, right? That's why people get a lot of these books signed, right? Please sign my book so I can sell it on eBay. She showed up with her copy of the first book, and it was, well, let's just say it looks a little bit like this. You can see the spine is all fucked up. And when I said, oh no, oh no, oh no, it's because I think actually parts of the pages might be falling out. That's how many times I've read this. I've read all of them multiple times, but that first one in particular, which is, this is, that's Blood of Elves. And oh, I actually don't have, this is actually just the first one in the saga. I don't know where the first book is. Whatever, this short story collection. But both of them, I don't even have the first one, I don't think, because I don't think it came out in English. We'll go over all of it. But in terms of my friend, what J.K. Rowling told her is, she said, nothing makes me happier than when someone comes to me with a book that looks like this. You know, that's all fucked. And clearly has been read 1,000 times, because it shows you that you enjoyed the book itself, and you're not just trying to fucking sell it, right? So, yeah, anyway, that was, I think we're gonna be done with the face cam. I just wanted to show you my books and show you one of my stupid cosplays, because I happened to, it was in my closet, sitting out, and most of my stuff's packed up. I don't know where my Triss is, and also I now hate myself for cosplaying Triss, because I did it before, I did it when the first game came out, before I'd read the books. We can discuss that. We can discuss that. Anyway, given that, I'm gonna turn the cam off. And let's get into the actual thing. Whoops, that's not the right thing. There we go. Alright, actually, let's go back here. So, let me turn off the other music, because there is music in this panel built into it. And I'm gonna have to turn down my audio, so I don't hear it too much. Whoopsie, here we go. It's a little high. I was jamming out to it earlier, so now I have to, like, adjust it a little. Alright, so, yeah. Let's just go over the panel, and it is called We Hate Portals. So let's just go through and we'll learn what we can just go through different shit about the Witcher series, the Wiedźmin. Is that alright? Tell me about the sound, how you guys feel about the sound of the music, because it might, you know, it can be disturbing to more people or less. I use it in my panels, but usually I'm doing this in front of, like, fucking 500 people in public and not in... You know, it's funny, I was so weirded out when I started YouTube, and I was like, oh shit, you've been doing this for fucking years. Just didn't think about it because of, the context being a little different. I might have to turn down my headphone set, this sounds so loud to me, fuck. I tested this too, anyway. Alright, so here's the basic panel plan. And welcome, Kurvas. How y'all doing? Again, we got our Sobieski. You got your Sobieski ready, fam? You got your shit all fucking prepared? You ready to go? I love the games. Are the books just as good? The books are way better, my friend. The books are far, far better, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this, is because I was talking to Sinatra again, and I was like, oh my god, I'm getting so fucking stoked just talking about the books and thinking, fuck, nobody understands my complete passion. So we're gonna go through the real basic structure, the books, and the influence they've had on Poland. Uh-oh, I'll get called a Holocaust denier again. The games, other media, characters, continent, and then the future of the series, if it has one, which it might. Well, we do know for sure it's getting a Netflix special starring Mads Mikkelsen, which, perfect casting, Netflix, and I'm not normally a fan of a lot of their original series and original content, but ooh, Mads, that's great, perfect choice, thank you. So, woofed. Thank you, Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Since I got Dandelion, oh, actually I don't have my Streamlabs up, so give me 1 second, I will pull that up. And of course, I will read Streamlabs and Super Chats as they come in for the most part, but sometimes I get rolling. Oh, Solzhenitsyn said Dandelion is the best girl. Regis is best girl, but close but no cigar. On that one, anyway, it is what is The Witcher, the Wiedźmin? they're Wiedźmin. It's a series of books, video games, tabletop games, comics. It is a worldwide cultural phenomena. When everyone talks about The Witcher, they generally are only thinking about the video games that have been released in the West. But this has had massive impact on culture, not just in Poland, but across Eastern Europe. And I'm sorry, I forget who brought it up earlier, but someone brought up that Elric of Melniboné, I always pronounce it wrong, which is a series also of sci-fi novellas and novels that Sapkowski, the creator, pretty much ripped off directly. But I think that what he created in his ripping off of things was fantastic. It's kind of like George Lucas, whether he did it or not, was really ripping off the hero's journey, but he created something fucking great as a result. And I think that in the end, even if it was a ripoff on some level in terms of the magic system and who Geralt is as a character, the Witcher is absolutely my favorite fantasy universe. And it is fantasy, right? It's low fantasy on some level in terms of it has a lot of influences. You know, low fantasy or dark fantasy are things like Game of Thrones, right? They're very based more in reality. And then we have high fantasy, things like Lord of the Rings. And The Witcher sort of exists in a state in between those. Hey, Naka, what's up? It combines Polish folklore, and not just Polish folklore. Folklore, particularly also Sapkowski, was very highly influenced by the Arthurian legends. But also science and parallel universes, history, magic. If you guys have played the games, you're familiar with that, particularly The Witcher 3. As the games got more popular, CD Projekt Red got a little bit more feisty in their ability to bring in some of the weirder elements of the books. The first Witcher game, I mean by that, is pretty straightforward. It's very much just a high fantasy, beat 'em up sort of game, or I guess sword 'em up game. Anyway, yeah, created originally by Andrzej Sapkowski in 1986. To go over the basics, this is for people who are not familiar, and I do this panel in front of lots of people, so some people walk in and they have no fucking clue what they're in for, and I imagine that is doubly so on YouTube. So what is a Witcher? It is a class of mutant monster hunters that were created to kill monsters in the continent. The continent is the environment in which all of this occurs. We know some things about it, but not a whole ton. They are put through a series of mutagens and genetic alterations that allow them to be better at killing monsters. This started several thousand years ago, during at least based on when the games and the books take place. One side effect of being introduced to these mutagens is that they're all sterile. Again, the continent is the main stage, settled by humans, did I say thousands? Hundreds, sorry, of years ago, is the main stage of the series, settled by humans 300 years ago. We don't know where they came from before then. If you know anything about the Elder Scrolls universe, it's similar in that the, before times are very, mysterious. They've never been described quite fully, so not exactly sure where the humans were before this. I know you'll be good, Naka. And you too, Mitch. Mitch, Triss is not best girl. We're gonna get into that. Sorcerers and sorceresses are people who are inherently born with a proclivity towards magic, and we'll get into what the fuck magic is. But training in magic can do all kinds of weird shit. Generally, though, it also results in sterility. It also seems to be, at least implied in the books, that it makes you kind of hideous, but luckily you're magical, so you can make yourself look hot. Nilfgaard is the giant country to the south, and one of the reasons I want to go over this too is because even if you've played the games, the story is so buried in what's happening in every single game. The gameplay is so fun and involving and engrossing that it's very easy to miss any story that does exist. And the stories in the games are pretty basic, even the third one, which has the best story. Well, no, that's not true. It has the most story, excuse me. This Witcher 2 has the best story, and has the best sort of split off in terms of choices, I would argue. But it's very easy to miss what the fuck is happening in this world. And then you have the Northern Realms in contrast to Nilfgaard. Nilfgaard's essentially Rome. You have the Northern Realms, which are Redania, Temeria, Caedwyn, Sintra, Kovir, and Povis, and that's kind of a whole thing. They're like 2 city-states that are connected, and Temeria. There are non-humans in this universe. Well, again, I said this is sort of a mix between low fantasy, something like Game of Thrones, and high fantasy, something like Lord of the Rings. So there are elves, dwarves, gnomes, halflings, all kinds of magical creatures, but it's not the emphasis of racism that maybe you could have seen in some of the shit that was going on in Lord of the Rings is much more prominent and brought to the forefront in the Witcher series, but it's not obnoxious. Oh, I didn't misspell dwarf. I believe that's how it's spelled in this. And then magic is, yeah, a mix of mysticism and science, which is something I really like. It's, I forget what it's called, techno magic, techno something, where it's sort of like, there's clearly a scientific element involved to how the magic works, but of course we don't get that explanation. And that's good. I like that we don't get it explained. Here's the books. What I just pulled up in front of you guys a minute ago was the saga. So the 5 that are listed below. But there were several other books. There was the original Wiedźmin short story, which won 3rd place in Fantastica. Then there was the original book. You can't find that anymore. Then there's Sword of Destiny. That's the... Oh, I have read Sword of Destiny, but I don't know if that one... No, that was published in English. Yes, it was. That was published in English, for sure. And Sword of Destiny is the... book that introduces the character Ciri. And if you guys have played Technomancy, thank you guys, or Magitech, Technomancy, Magitech, something like that, introduces Ciri, and it's such an amazing relationship because the way that Ciri, this character that you guys might know from the 3rd game, is actually introduced in a very haphazard way to Geralt. He's off to do something else and he runs into this little girl in the woods, and it turns out that she's a princess, and that their fates are tied together, much as his fate is inherently tied to Yennefer, the black-haired bitch from the 3rd game that they talk about in a lot of the other games. I just love the family so much. God damn it, I love it. And then there's Last Wish, excuse me, which was the first book that was released in English, and in fact it was the only book released in English for a very, very long time. I believe that Lady of the Lake... oh, see, when I actually wrote this panel, the last time I edited this was in May of this year? No. I edited it today because my real name was actually in it. When I last edited this, Lady of the Lake was not out. It was released, I believe, in about April of last year. So, yeah. They're all out now. So you guys can read all of these and buy them all, or you can also read the fan translations. They all exist. So the book's plot. Spoiler alert, guys, for books that have been out since the mid-80s, but they have only been out for a couple years in English. However, I think most people, let me just be honest, aren't gonna fucking read the books. I really highly suggest you do. There's research on how spoilers affect enjoyment, and for the most part we find they don't actually inhibit enjoyment that much for most people. They can in some people, but you have to have a very certain proclivity towards a high need for cognition and a low need for affect. Or no, other way around. High need for affect, low need for cognition. So if you're in that one sort of, you know, area of people, you might not want to listen for a couple minutes because we're going to get on the spoilers about the story. However, I think in general, people aren't gonna fucking read them. Sean, have I read Elric of Mellowbone? Yeah, I mentioned it in the beginning, how it's sort of a ripoff. But I think it's an elevated ripoff, right? So this is the story I was just talking about. This is how it starts with Sword of Destiny. Geralt's asked by Queen Calanthe of Sintra to protect her daughter, Pavetta. This is actually excuse me, this is not in Sword of Destiny, this is in Last Wish. Because stories in the short stories do not take place chronologically across the books at all for the 2 short story collections. The saga, that is chronological. The short story collections are all over the place. He's asked by Queen Calanthe of Sintra to protect her daughter Pavetta. A knight demands Pavetta's hand by law the right of surprise, and it's important we understand what the right of surprise is. And he is revealed to be a monster, Dunny. Geralt is at this party where this is happening, where this knight shows up, and he parlays between the Queen and Dunny and Pavetta, and then it turns out that Pavetta and Dunny already love each other, and this whole thing has been the rite of surprise. So in response for him parlaying the situation, Geralt asks a question that will come up again, which is he requests from Pavetta and Dunny, particularly Pavetta, the Queen of Cintra, Calanthe, was like, I'll give you anything, Witcher. I'll give you any— yes, I have watched the TV series, we'll get there. And she said, I'll give you anything, Witcher, what do you desire? He says, that which you have but do not know. Revealing, of course, Pavetta is pregnant. So 10 years later, Geralt meets a girl in the Brokilon forest. She insists over and over again that she is his destiny. And then 1 year later, Geralt denies the law of surprise to Calanthe, saying that he doesn't believe in destiny. She basically says, Geralt, come and collect your prize. That which you have but do not yet know, I've got it for you. And what does it end up actually being? It's not... It's Ciri. It's Ciri. Ciri was the daughter of Dunny and Pavetta. And through what happens in this slide here, Cintra, essentially the country that she's from, is destroyed by Nilfgaard. Geralt is in the area at the time, and most of Geralt's life is kind of just wandering around and being like, I don't fucking care about anything. Whatever happens, happens. But he saves the life of a merchant and asks again, in response and in payment, pay me whatever you find at home but did not expect, right? And what does the merchant find at home? That his wife, of all of there's so many orphans that are coming in from Cintra being destroyed by Nilfgaard, that one of the many orphans that's taken in is this girl, Ciri, Cirilla, the princess of Cintra. And that's what the merchant finds at home, but did not expect. So again, the destiny, the tie inherent between Geralt and Ciri is made clear. Geralt, being a warrior by trade who has no fucking clue how to interact with other human beings, doesn't really know what to do with Ciri. He clearly has to raise her on some level. It actually makes Geralt believe in destiny. That's why it's Sword of Destiny, because finding her again at the end of this makes him go, oh fuck, maybe things are connected in a meaningful manner. So normally Witchers are given mutagens and that permanently change them, but there have never been any female Witchers. The reason is that their bodies, at least the explanation, Aiden's channel is now dedicated to me spurging out about random shit on stream. No, I just thought this would be fun. Just thought it'd be fun, guys. I still produce my regular content. Am I saying Geralt is autistic? Maybe a little. But, basically, Geralt raises Ciri as a Witcher in every way, trains her as a Witcher in every way, but because, at least in the history of the Witchers, women had not been able to survive the mutagenic process, they don't give her the mutagens that they would have normally, so they don't engage in genetic experimentation on Ciri. But there's clearly some weird shit going on with Ciri. Very early on, she starts to have some weird magical crap happening around her. And in response, Geralt asks Triss, who you guys may know from the games, the hot redhead, to help him out with it, because as she starts to reach puberty, she starts to accidentally use more and more magic, so it becomes clear that she's got some latent magical ability. She is revealed to be what's called a source. Triss, frankly, has no fucking idea how to deal with this. Triss is, first of all, in a... I hate Triss since I read the books, right? Triss... Alright, let's go back, The Trial of the Grasses is fatal to women, yeah, thank you. Using the mutagens, all this shit, it's gonna kill women. Geralt, in all of the short stories before this, Geralt and this woman, Yennefer, have been involved in a relationship. How it started was he basically fell in love with her at first sight, but he saved her life from a genie, and the way that he did it was by making their lives inexorably linked, so that their fates would be tied together for forever. Now, Sapkowski himself has said that this is a metaphor more than a precise meaning. in that Geralt and Yennefer, it's not that they can't love each other. In fact, their relationship is incredibly toxic and broken and fucked up. But Triss, who is Yennefer's best friend, constantly wants to fuck Geralt. And in this book in particular, in Blood of Elves, right? That's the first book, yeah. Triss shows up at Kaer Morhen, the Witcher Castle, and just sits in her tower, masturbating, wanting Geralt to come upstairs and fuck her. It's, and all while being like, oh, Triss is my, or excuse me, oh, Yennefer's my best friend. She's my best friend. And then doing that kind of crazy ass fucking shit. I'm gonna read some super chats real quick, because I've missed a whole bunch. Sorry about that, guys. George Spanos for 2 just gave 2, thank you. Deplorabology says, I am a kaikaboo. I'm a polaboo. How you do? Alec Urban says, romance yen or Triss or yen. I'm a yen guy myself, a man of taste and distinction. Dave for 5 Canadian dollary dues says, gonna have to rewatch this, but thanks for doing this, Chicky. You're a bundle of awesome. Thank you. And then Alec Urban again for 5 says, who has the worst life? A mage living near the eternal fire, a merchant sailor who has to sail around Skellige, or anyone living in Nilfgaard? Probably the mage in that case. I mean, sailors, like, it's gonna be rough. We'll get into it. There are people with way worse lives. Drew Thompson for 2 said Magitech to answer my stupid question. Barnabas Seaworth for 2 said elves are the black people in The Witcher. Not quite. It's a little bit more complicated that I think that in this panel I get into the races a little bit, but oofed. It's some weird shit. That's when we get into the more could you call sciencey, or not science, but sci-fi elements in terms of universe hopping shit of what are the elves? Herios for 2 says, are we gonna have cocktail recipes at the end? I could just tell you a cocktail I would think would be good with Sobieski. Random City, randomosity, geez. 327 for 5 says, let's talk about how great it is. I'm going to bed, but you talking about The Witcher just stopped me short. Love your work, enjoyed immensely. Thank you so much. Alec Urban again for 5 says, are Witchers naturally emotionless, or is that a superstition? It is a superstition. Witchers are, definitely have emotions, and if you read the books, the fucking bromance. Oh, the bromance. It's beautiful. And it seems that Geralt just tries to hide his emotions, and he's actually very emotional at times. But because things are often told from his perspective, we get to see who Geralt is more as a person. And yeah, we could maybe talk about about the chapter, the short story where Geralt gets literally cucked. He does, guys. It's called Shard of Ice. That's it, right? Is that the English translation? Yeah, A Shard of Ice is the story where Geralt gets literally cucked. We can talk about that if you feel so inclined. And then Barnabas Seaworth for 5 says, Aiden, ever heard of the Night Watch series by Russian author Sergei Lukyanenko? You might like it, essentially World of Darkness in Russia. No, I have not, but I will definitely check it out. Oh, where am I getting with this, this fucking, oh, where were we? Right. Oh, so Triss can't deal with Ciri, whose powers are just way too intense. So they send her to train at the temple with Yennefer. Yennefer is pissed off at Geralt during this time because they have this on again, off again relationship where they fight with each other and bitch. And Yennefer, as I mentioned in the beginning, much as Geralt, is sterile. Geralt doesn't seem too upset about it. Yennefer is very upset about it. There's a whole story in, is it Sword of Destiny or, oh shit, which collection is it? It might be Sword of Destiny. No, it's in Last Wish. It's in Last Wish, where Yennefer basically tries to get dragon body parts to kill dragons so that she has the ability to reproduce. And then all of a sudden she gets handed this like 7-year-old, 8-year-old girl. I guess she's probably closer to 13. By Geralt, her on-again, off-again boyfriend, and is asked to raise her. And it's some of the most just really great. Is it in Sword of Destiny? Thank you. I thought it might have been in Last Wish. But anyway, it's just fantastic character development. between two people who originally have no reason to like each other at all, and come very quickly to view each other in a very significant mother-daughter relationship. More so than I believe that Ciri ever felt with her real mother, Pavetta. And that's in part because she died and was killed by Dunny, who is her dad, who also wants to fuck her. Ha! Yes, Yen is super ugly. Shawnee, actually reread the books. They don't say she's super ugly. It says that Geralt feels that she's using magic to make herself more attractive, and that when he looks at her in a certain light, he can see she's not as hot as she actually is, and that she's actually unattractive. But it doesn't mean that she, or Triss, because I think Triss would be the same thing. I think with Yen, she has like a hump or something. She has like a humpback a little bit inherent. Geralt is dead. He was replaced by a Doppler. That's potentially something that's real. Yeah. That would explain all the games, because otherwise they don't make any fucking sense. Well, they don't make any sense in terms of how they take place at the end of the books either way. Anyway, at Thanedd, the wizard or sorcerer Vigilforts betrays all the mages, kills the king of Redania, but Ciri manages to escape. I don't know why I'm talking so much about the plot. I go over these because some people might be interested. I literally just talked out the fucking plot of all these 3 books in 3 panels, or 3 slides here, didn't I? That's kind of boring. Yen escapes the lodge, but is captured by Vigilforts and tortured extensively. Yen is like, has her fingernails ripped out, trying to be asked about the location of Ciri, which she doesn't know, but she has some idea of. So, was it confirmed in Tower of Swallows? Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, I got it right here. Who knows? What did I have bookmarked in this? Oh, I think I might have bookmarked. There's a scene. It's either in Tower of Swallows or in Lady of the Lake, where they have a feast around Christmas time, and I wanted to cook it myself, and I did. So, anyway, the point is everyone fucking wants Ciri, which is also the plot of The Witcher 3 in terms of the books. So Ciri ends up in the weird elf world, Tyrnalia, learns how to travel through time and space, which turns out it's because she's from a very specific bloodline of these original elves that came to the continent a couple thousand years ago and were time-traveling space elves, because that's what elves do in this universe. And she just is enough of their bloodline that she has the ability, that she still has enough of their blood to be able to travel through time and space, whereas the elves in Tyrnalia have lost the ability to do that, and they're terrified. These elves are terrified because they've lost their ability, and there is basically so you know, there's the Big Bang, and then there's an idea that there's something called the Great Crunch, or there's a proposed idea that everything's going to shrink back in upon itself. Essentially what's happening in the Witcher universe is the Big Crunch. Worlds and universes just being destroyed one on one. It's what happens at the end of The Witcher 3 is that Ciri finally defeats it. But the Hansa, which is never brought up really in the Witcher games, is just this, it's the best group of bros. It's Geralt and Dandelion and best bro of all time, Regis. And we'll go over the Hansa, but pretty much they all die, and they finally get, and yes, everyone does want to make Ciri pregnant. Everybody, including her own father, wants to get Ciri pregnant because of her genetics, because of her bloodline. But in the final book, what happens at the end is they've saved Ciri, but she's basically going to be taken in by the Lodge of Sorceresses and has no agency of her own. Yen can't do anything about it. Triss doesn't appear to really care. She's like, oh, I'm sorry, whoopsie. And Geralt is just sad and is like, I guess I'll get on with doing my monster hunting. And then at the very end, Ciri's like, no, I can't go away without saying goodbye to my father, essentially, Geralt. and goes into this town when all of a sudden a race riot breaks out. Seriously, a race riot between dwarves and elves and humans. And Geralt gets stabbed by a peasant with a fucking pitchfork, I believe. And Yen does everything she can to try and save him and make him not die. And in so doing, Triss also summons like a meteor. Or wait, did Yen do that? But rains fire down from on high. Yen does everything she can to try and save Geralt, but in so doing, not only fails, but kills herself, essentially. And Ciri goes and takes them out to the lake, places them in a magical boat that is summoned, and says bye. And then they wake up on an island together. It's not clear if they are dead or if they're in some sort of afterlife. And all of the books are Ciri relating this story to Galahad after she herself comes out of the lake being the Lady of the Lake, hence the name of the last book. So a little bit about Andrzej Sapkowski. So yeah, he has a degree in economics and worked as a businessman. He was heavily inspired by Tolkien, Arthurian myth, Polish folklore, and history. He was supposedly very unhappy with the TV and film series, or the TV series and film. That ending sounds retarded. It was sad. It was sad, but it was also it was not a series that could have a happy ending, right? So leave it open, I suppose. Do I support the Scoia'tael ethno-state? Nah, elves are literally wrong on the continent. In terms of the TV series and film, which are the same thing, actually. We'll get into those more. The TV show is fine. The film is hot trash because it's a spliced together version of a 12-episode long TV series. Yeah, he thinks that the games, the comics, etc., everything else is fan fiction. It's not his original work, so it's doesn't count. And in terms of the sales of the books, yeah, it's pretty much Poland's Lord of the Rings. And this is a quote from him. I know it's put in meme image form, but I talked a little bit about how there's this bind between Geralt and Yennefer, and he describes it as such. I gave my hero a wish, which could get rid of any of his mutations, or get him riches and any power. Instead, he decided to bind his fate with a woman and save her life in the process. Some people seriously think that the love and relationship between them is fake or unnatural, and based surely on some gene spell, which had nothing to do with it. I didn't even mention it in my other books. And it's true, it's not mentioned in the other books. It's not for the most part. It's mentioned in the games, but that's about it. Oh, I zoomed in on it. Whoops. There's spoilers in all of this. So I'm gonna go through this really quickly because most people have played the games, although maybe not the first one, which is really good, and I recommend it. Andrzej seems like a total prick, kind of, but he also seems like a cool guy. He just seems like he doesn't give a fuck, aka he's Polish. I don't know. So the original Witcher game came out in 2007 for PC on BioWare's Aurora engine. The console version was supposed to come out, but it was scrapped. It takes place 5 years after the end of the books, so the ending I just described, where they both fucking... Fuck you too, buddy. Where they both fucking die, and then it just starts out 5 years later with Geralt waking up and being brought back to Kaer Morhen. And it's really weird when you go and play the first game again, if you've read the books, and you go, what the fuck is happening story-wise? What's going on? How is this a thing? No one really brings it up. So it's kind of bizarre. It just starts back up with like, oh hey Geralt, somebody fucked up Kaer Morhen and stole our Witcher formulae. Go get them back. And it has you know, isometric or over-the-shoulder gameplay. You can switch. Takes place in Temeria and Vizima. There's 3 general paths, but one thing that's cool about these games is that they're branching, so you can make all kinds of different choices in them. It's basically why they've been so highly regarded. There are two romantic interests, Shawnee and Triss. I didn't mention Shawnee before, even though I was wearing the vest. Shawnee's introduced in... Shit. Which book? I don't remember now. She's introduced in one of the earlier books. And it's very funny. Basically, they're trying to sneak into, is it Wizima? They're worried about going into Vizima. And Dandelion's gonna go in first and like scout out with his female what is she? She's like a nurse. She's training to be a doctor, essentially. He's gonna go talk to her first. And Dandelion is the bard. He's a total ladies' man. And so he's like, I'm gonna go talk to Shawnee. She'll put us up and we can sneak in to Izima and get away with this a little bit. And then he's being very, very that's people in the chat. I love you guys so much because you guys know when I forget. So he talks to Shawnee. He's like, you gotta keep this really secret. We're being very, very discreet. And then it's the next perspective is Dandelion leaping across the rooftops and sneaking through alleyways, being, you know, so concerned that if anybody finds Geralt, it's gonna be a problem for both of them. Because the the guards might be looking for him for... I'm not gonna get too much into it. Read the fucking books, even though I'm spoiling some things. But he's sneaking all around, and then he gets up to the rooftop, up to the window, and he knocks on it, and he's like, Shawnee, let me in. And she's like, now it's not a really good time, Dandelion. and he eventually just breaks open the window, and she's in there fucking Geralt. It's a great scene. Read it. It's fucking fantastic. Yeah, there's the romance cards. There's some inconsistencies. Ada's not brain dead. Yeah, that was weird. Some of the included books, what is it? Included books are not published till many years later. Oh. In terms of, there are books that you can read in the game that don't take place within the timeline in which basically they fucked up just on some minor details that don't really matter. And I get irritated by shit like that. It's been about a year since I've really spurged out about The Witcher, so I'll forget some of these things, maybe. So The Witcher 2, which is haha, maybe I think probably my actual favorite game in the series. It's so good. It was released for PC in 2011, 2012 for Mac and Linux in 2014 on the Red Engine. It adds traps. Hey, traps aren't gay. Range, weapons, and stealth. Oh, and that romance card thing on the first game. Yeah, they got in some trouble in the West for... You romance some wenches, then you get to see a picture. You get to see a very nice artistic rendition of you fucking them. So an assassin has killed King Foltest of Redania, and Geralt seeks the regicide to clear his name because he's fingered in it. Ha. Fingered is a good way of describing when somebody is accused of a crime. It's a quick way of saying it, but it also sounds so funny. You have a choice of the path between Yorvith, the elf, and Roach, best bro, but they're both good bros, so I can't really pick. Saskia, who turns out to be a dragon, spoiler alert, leads the non-humans. She's the daughter of Jack Threedaws from sort of Destiny, who is a dragon that Geralt sort of inadvertently helps out, who's an awesome guy. Three Jackdaws is the coolest motherfucker. And she ends up probably being his daughter, although it's not completely confirmed. Letho is a Witcher being used by Nilfgaard to do this shit, to play this political game. And it is cool because there's a lot of politics involved in all of these games and in the books as well. So there's a whole bunch of different possible endings based on who you side with, who you kill, and what choices you make. It's just like the first game, really, really good. Triss is the only consistent romance in this, and it's the only reason I got to subtract points from it, because fuck Triss. And at this point, Triss, who has been fucking Geralt for the last 2 games, who knows? Who knows? Not just a little bit, but a whole hell of a lot, that Geralt essentially has a wife, or what counts of as a wife, more or less, in Yennefer, her supposed best friend, but a daughter, and that no one knows where any of them are. This is not only, it's not brought up by Dandelion or anybody else either, which is weird. But Triss, of all people, should have said something. I view what she does to Geralt in the first two Witcher games as not even gaslighting, but outright potentially borderline rape, because she lies to him. If you look at this stuff in context, right? That what Triss does to Geralt is borderline rape. In the end, Geralt, yes, at the very end of The Witcher 2, Geralt remembers Yennefer and Ciri. It's one of the reasons he gets so pissed off at Triss. He's like, holy shit, we've been together for 2 years, and you couldn't be fucking bothered to tell me that I essentially had a wife and daughter. Thanks. Now, I know no one else did either, but I think everyone was, like, confused. It's just not good writing, let's be honest. So everyone's favorite and the international hit game, of course, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. One of the reasons it was so successful is because it was the first game that came out on consoles. It got a huge release. Oof. Talking fast. Sorry, guys. Trying to get through it. It is 30 times larger than any of the other games. There's got the horse and boat travel, Blood and Wine, and Hearts of Stone DLC. Both fucking fantastic DLCs. I don't normally praise DLC, but holy shit, CDPR knows what the fuck they're doing. Geralt and Vesemir, the Elder Witcher, search for Yennefer and Ciri. Ciri's being chased by the Wild Hunt. Those are the elves from Tyr Nalia, and who are looking for Ciri so that they can impregnate her, because that's why everyone's always looking for Ciri. You go through all the different areas, whatever. Avallac'h, who killed the king of Tyr Nalia and hates Ciri. He finds her, both he and the previous king find Ciri physically repugnant because they hate humans, but they want her bloodline so much. Actually, the king, the former king, I can't remember his name, he tries to fuck Ciri multiple times, but he can't get a boner because he hates humans so much, right? Anyway, after finding Ciri, fighting against the Wild Hunt, Ciri finally faces against the White Frost. Remember when I said the big crunch? Yeah, it's that thing, the White Frost. It's just basically non-extant. And yeah, the DLC adds Toussaint and Regis. Toussaint was some of... when did they go to Toussaint? Because that's when the feast was. I feel like it was in Tower of Swallows, but I don't remember. Oh, and yes, it adds the character of Gaunter O'Dim, who's not in the books, but is a fucking fantastic character. The spin-offs, there was a game in 2007 called Crimson Trail. I've never played it. I have no fucking clue. By Breakpoint, starring a young Geralt. Don't know what it's about. Don't know anything about it. Just know it exists. Witcher Versus in 2008 was a free Flash multiplayer game for browser by 1-2Tribe. It was basically just Jean Gambon rock, paper, scissors style fighting. And then there's Gwent. I haven't played Gwent in a while, but I was obsessed with Gwent when it came out. Not only just, I mean, the game itself is really fun, although it got kind of annoying because even during the beta, there were people who were playing it like 1,000 hours a day and had really broken decks that you just couldn't compete with. And the matchmaking system was sort of broken, or that there weren't enough of us playing, I don't know. But I love Gwent. All of the gambling games and all of the mini games that exist in all of the games. Isn't the White Frost more like the heat death of the universe? Is it entropy? Or heat death? Yeah, potentially. I'm not sure. We could, again, it gets into the more sci-fi element of what the fuck's happening in The Witcher. But I was one of those people who downloaded the mod that replaced normal combat in The Witcher 3 with plain Gwent. Oh, fuck yeah. I love Gwent, man. How much do I play of this? CDPR was the game development team. Created in part to adapt The Witcher. I don't know how much I play here. How long is this? 5 minutes? Nah, let's not. Anyway, I don't care. Oh, yeah, so here's the other media stuff. This is what's translated in English as the Hexer. It was a 2001 movie and a 2002 TV show, but don't be confused, they're the same fucking thing. It's a 13-episode TV series that was cut down into a 2-hour movie. The 2-hour movie is so bad that when I was at my absolute brokest point of my life, where I was like, I could probably eat ramen this week, I bought and sent a DVD copy of the Hexer, the movie, to Red Letter Media, knowing that it was in Polish and knowing they would never watch it, but just so they have it in their database of awful fucking movies. It's based on Sword of Destiny, Last Wish. Nah. The movie, though, because it's cut up, is fucking incomprehensible. It is so hard to understand because they're trying to turn 13 episodes into 2 hours. The show, on the other hand, is alright. It covers a lot of big things that do happen in the 2 books. There's a lot of differences, though. Geralt himself is a law of surprise child, the sort of give me whatever you find at home but didn't expect thing. Whereas in the books, Geralt is the child of a sorceress who just dumped him off at Kaer Morhen. Here's, I know they're big. It's a big difference between Heat Death and the Big Crunch. I'm saying I don't know what one better describes the White Frost. Vesemir is a monk in it. Ciri, Nanika, and Iola are all vastly different. And there are female witchers, which I'm sure would appease feminists. Oh, I got a clip. You guys can see the fantastic special effects. Oh, hang on. Is there no sound on this? Where's the fucking sound? Are you fucking with me? Whatever, just look at the special effects. There was sound on this. I'm pretty sure I uploaded this fucking clip to YouTube because I was pissed that I... Bug. Whatever. You can look at the visuals. There's Dandelion. And Yennefer and Geralt, obviously. So, this is when Yennefer is trying to get the dragon, trying to kill this dragon so that she can use it for her reproductive purposes. But I really want to show you the special effects. Because they're pretty fucking neato. I'm sorry there's no sound again. I don't know why. This is peak this is peak 2001 Polish filmmaking, my dudes. It's not a bad TV show, like I said. Oh, it's like really quiet. It's only one of my headphones too. There's 3 jackdaws. Hence why he's called 3 jackdaws. Because he's a dragon who turns into a dude and 2 bitches. Real quick, let me pound through with these super chats, guys. Alec Urban, for 10, thank you, said Geralt can't be a Doppler because he was forced to drink from a silver goblet in The Witcher 3. They just made up some way of bringing them back to life so they could have games. Yeah, I think that's... It doesn't make any sense. I think it was... Because then they invented this entire thing about how he ran with a wild hunt? And that doesn't make any sense. And that's never really explained either. So Mitch for 2 pounds. Thank you, Mitch. How you doing? Said Aiden's best grill is Mike Stoklasa. That's true. Mike Stoklasa is best grill. Gravedigger for 10, thank you, says, I'm a new subscriber to your channel. Here are some shekels to keep you going. I love your political commentary. Thank you so much. This is not political. This is just me being, fucking around on a Friday night. That's what we do on Fridays, isn't it? Anyway, I mean, it's violent. It's pretty cool. Oh, shit. What the fuck did you just... You fucker. Oh, my God. Prezi just fucked my shit up. Wow, hang on. And see, look, this is- oh no, guys. Look at how little I've covered. I didn't realize this. Oh god, I'm gonna get through this then. Oh no, no, no. I didn't want to go more than 2 hours on this. Let's fucking pound through this then, not the super chats. I forgot how to do this panel. Shit. So there's some tabletop games, card game, board game, role-playing game. Not played any of them. Would really like to play the role-playing game, but I haven't played it. There's a bunch of comics. I've read some of them. There's an original Polish comic book series. The art in it's kind of garbage. whatever. There's a bunch of ones that came out after the CDPR games. The online miniseries in 2012. Comic based on the novels. Oh yeah, that didn't actually happen. I got confused for a minute because like, that didn't happen. So this is important though, real quick, to talk about what's happening with the stories themselves. Is that there was a midquel new story that was released in 2013 called Season of Storms. But the real question is there anything left to tell? We have told Geralt, Yennefer, and Ciri's stories. I mean, Ciri has a lot left to offer, and there are a lot of people who speculate that because Ciri can travel through time and space, she might be somehow involved in Cyberpunk 2077, CD Projekt Red's next game. There's also the potential of stories about Vesemir and his youth as a Witcher, back when Witchers were more common, because by the time this series takes place, Witchers are pretty much extinct. There's no more need for them anymore, essentially. But Vesemir, yeah, he's been around for a long-ass time. And he might have some stories. My recommendations for other books that people might be interested in, if they like The Witcher, or if you guys are interested in this and you read the 7 books and go, holy shit, that was great. Here's some other stuff, I guess. The first is the Kingkiller Chronicles. People have very mixed opinions on this. I really like Kingkiller. That's my art of Kvothe, too, so you're welcome. That's a drawing I did of him, the main character from Kingkiller. It's sort of similar in that it's more of a dark fantasy with some scientific aspects. It is very, very similar to Harry Potter in a lot of ways, though, and that involves, at least the first books. I'm a little bit behind. I think he put out a new one. I haven't. No, he hasn't. Oh, it was Stormlight Archive I haven't read the new book of. Stormlight Archive is fucking amazing. Stormlight Archive is massive, enormous, huge fantasy universe that's incredibly unique. It's unlike anything else. It's got political intrigue and conflict just like The Witcher does. It's got, low and high fantasy characteristics. Also, Kaladin's a fucking boss. And Malazan Chronicles is a darker fantasy. It's got multiple layers of characters and issues. It's also a detailed universe and with a somewhat logical magic system. Just things I would suggest if you're interested in The Witcher. And Witcher versus Elric. I've actually not read the Elric books. I just know that they're really, really similar. I don't know what you guys think about that. Kvothe has messier hair. Critiquing my art, I see. So let's move through this. I want to finish within it'll be an hour. Okay. I don't want to go for too long, guys, on a Friday night. We should all be getting drunk. Not, oh, this is fun. Like, you know, you can get drunk. You can get drunk every time I say, that would be really... I use a lot of verbal filler because I talk very fast. And I've got this cluttering issue. So, that would kill you. I'm trying to think of how we could move this into a drinking game. Anyway, so the characters. Geralt of Rivia. Rivia. Wow. Great. After I talked about my ability to speak, I can't fucking talk. Oh, I became British. I put Rivia. Her. Anyway. Yeah, his mother was a sorceress, which sort of, and she abandoned him, which sort of becomes that it's like pottery, it rhymes, you know, that Yennefer is a sorceress who wants more than anything to have a baby and can't, and Geralt is the child of a sorceress who didn't want him. He excelled at the trial of the grasses. That's when they put the mutagens in people's bodies, and he was given more of them, which is what turned his hair white, or so to believe. That's why other Witchers do not have white hair. It's just Geralt. Oh, basically he was asked to choose his name by Vesemir, because all Witchers, they have to abandon their names when they're in training, and then they get to choose their name, and it's supposed to be a name that allows them to fit in a little bit better with society. And so Geralt chose Geralt Roger Eric du Hout Bellegarde, and I think Vesemir beat him for it, for choosing such a haughty name. But he basically chose his location of Rivia arbitrarily. He's not from Rivia. He did become knighted by the Queen of Rivia, or not knighted, but he was honored by her, so he could technically... Oh yeah, he was knighted. Sorry, it's on the fucking panel that I don't read my own shit. But yeah, Eskel... By the way, guys, Eskel, if you think Now, Regis is best bro. Dandelion, maybe second best bro. But Dandelion has to really, really, you know, square up with Eskel. Eskel is a great goddamn bro. And he's about 100 years old or about that. And I said in here, Eskel's his best friend, but Dandelion's his best friend. Dandelion, Eskel, Regis, we gotta... Despite the fact that we said that, or that we talked earlier about whether or not they have emotions, they do. Geralt is unique in that he has a really strict moral code. Some Witchers and Witcher schools do not as much. He has a very strict personal moral code. He likes to pretend like he doesn't care, but he obviously cares a whole hell of a lot. Again, his fate is bound to Yennefer, and his destiny is bound to Ciri, who he views as a daughter. And that's why they're the best fam. So, Yen, of course, is a powerful sorceress. Her father disowned her because of her hunchback. There it is. Or crooked back. I don't know if hunchback's the right way to describe it. She used magic to improve her appearance, intensely wants to have children, loves Geralt, but is unwilling to commit to one man, hence Shard of Ice. I mentioned this is the story where Geralt gets cucked. Basically, Geralt and Yennefer show up into this town, and they're hanging out there for a while. And Yen keeps dipping out, because she says she's working on some research. Oh, now you guys all know what I'm doing when I'm working on research. Just kidding. But she's gonna fucking work on some research. And, it turns out that she's going over into town and fucking the sorcerer. And Geralt, of course, gets incensed. And it turns out they both basically fight and say, not physically, and beg Yennefer to choose one. And she says, I just can't choose. Fucking thought. I love Yen, though. Sorry. She's flawed. All the characters in this are very flawed, and that's why I like them so much. They act like real people. Dun, 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 dun. So now the song's stuck in my head. But in the end, the sorcerer actually tries to commit suicide by Witcher by trying to beg, essentially, Geralt to kill him or goad him into it, and he doesn't do it. She can be stern, cold, mean, outright a fucking bitch, but when it comes to her and Ciri and often her situations where she interacts with Geralt, she's clearly a deeply emotional person, but again, troubled and complex. Again, as I said, she went through torture to protect Ciri. And she smells of lilac and gooseberries if you played Witcher 3. So, Cirilla, Fiona, Ellen, Rhiannon, again, is the daughter of Pavetta and Dunny, and if I didn't explain this before, Dunny is Emir var Emrys, the king of Nilfgaard, excuse me, the emperor of Nilfgaard, the daughter of Queen Calanth of, oh shit, now my brain's not working. Damn it. Anyway, Emir von Emrys is the guy you find, the asshole you're kind of working for in The Witcher 3. In the books, he's trying to find Ciri so he can fuck her because he wants her genes. The genes! This is gonna be a JF stream all of a sudden. Yeah, she's a child of the Enhenikar, or Elder Blood, descendant of Laura Doran, one of the old school elves, the Enshe, who came to this universe, the continent, thousands of years ago. And she's a direct descendant of the first time elves and humans sort of interacted. And actually, it's why Laura Doran was killed, was because she fell in love with and married, well, I guess if you want to call it married. She fell in love with and fucked a human and got killed over it, as did he. But she, yeah, views Geralt and Yennefer as her parents, and Triss as her older sister. It's too bad Triss treats her like shit when it comes to actual behavior, but then is real quick to go, oh, I love you, love you, Ciri, as a little sister, when it's more convenient. She does learn how to time travel from a unicorn. The books, again, are a very weird mix of sci-fi stuff, elements with high and low fantasy. And yes, she is the key to saving the universe from the white light or white frost. But one of my most favorite moments in the books is at the very end. She's in front of the lodge of mages, of sorceresses, excuse me, and does this happen at the end, or does this happen the first time she's introduced to them? Now I can't remember. But they say, well, Ciri, how do you want to be referred to as? And she says, I want to be referred, you have to call me Cirilla of Vengerberg. Not Cirilla, Fiona, and Ellen Rhiannon of her actual heritage, but of her adoptive parentage, viewing Yennefer as her true mother, which is right in the feels, right? Fuck you, Triss! Fuck you, Triss! I fucking hate Triss! I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna make some people mad with my hatred of Triss. She was the sorceress who fought and, quote, died at Second Sodden Hill during the war that took place before the book started, but was sort of resurrected. So she also probably is horribly scarred and burned, but uses magic to cover it up? Yeah. Reconstructive magical surgery. She dated Geralt briefly, but it was only during periods where he and Yen weren't fucking, and she is obsessed with Geralt. I mentioned that she was sitting in Kaer Morhen masturbating, being like, oh gee, I really hope Geralt comes upstairs right now and fucks my pussy. Yeah, I'm serious. It's disturbing, because she considers Yennefer her best friend, and then later Ciri to be her little sister, and still has this weird sexual obsession over Geralt. And when you factor the games into this, it makes her way more crazy in terms of how she comes off, at least to me. She does absolutely betray Yennefer and Ciri to the Lodge by telling them the Lodge their location, and then, as I mentioned, she lies to Geralt about his past to sort of force a relationship in the games. And this is my opinion, one of the reasons Sapkowski may consider the games to be fan fiction is because Triss basically replaced Yennefer. Ooh. Headed over to HBA, have fun. I'm sorry, I know I'm streaming over him. It's not intentional. I was just trying to have some funsies. And have a fun stream. I'll read the super chats in a second. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, sounds like an awesome game. I will try out. Have you ever tried KOTOR? Well, if I could pull out my Bastila cosplay right now, I would, but that one's harder to put on than the Shawnee vest. Oh, speaking of which, Shawnee, name obscured. That's so funny because it actually is that way. So again, I've mentioned Dandelion. He's a bard. He's Geralt's pretty much best friend. He's a bit of a coward. There's Zoltan Chive, the dwarf. He's just a cool, regular dude. We could consider, I say friends, but Zoltan and Dandelion are also part of the Hansa, so I don't know really why I separated them. And then there's Shawnee, and literally her name is, like, scratched out, so we don't know what her last name is other than Shawnee. She's a medical student, medic, who becomes romantically involved with Geralt upon meeting him in the story I related earlier. And then there's, of course, Nenneke, the head of the Temple of Melitele in Ellender, who often helps out Geralt when he's fucked up. Here's the Hansa, though. These characters, besides Regis, none of them exist in the Witcher games. Regis was brought back through some crazy bullshit. The rest of them are super dead, so that's probably why. Hang on, what? Someone just knocked at my door? Oh god, that would freak me out in the middle of the fucking night. So there's Milva, an archer who joins Geralt after helping him deliver a message from Brokilon. She feels bad for Ciri. She just wants to try and find her too. And she ends up becoming pregnant and losing the baby, and it's a sad fucking scene. There's Kahir, who's a Nilfgaardian who's sent to capture Ciri, yet as soon as he sees her, falls in love with her, and ends up joining the Hansa in order to help find her. And then there's Angoulême, which is a young girl who resembles Ciri. In fact, they thought she was Ciri, who's kind of just like a wild beast, essentially, and ends up joining the Hansa. And then, of course, there's Regis, who is the higher vampire who abstains from blood and wants to help Geralt. He is the best bro of all time. Holy shit, Regis is so fucking awesome. He really is. Every time shit gets too intense, he's able to calm the situation down. And if you play the games, hell yeah. If you play the Blood and Wine DLC, Regis is best bro. I have one of those images. I don't think it wasn't in my reel, but it's the one of the noose, and it's just Regis on the other side. This is bad guys. There's Vigilforts, who's a sorcerer who just wants to impregnate Ciri himself, and then use the placenta to make himself stronger with her magical placenta powers. I'm serious. Everyone wants to just fucking impregnate Ciri. It's pretty much the plot of this fucking series. Erden? Yep, that's the, again, the king of Tyrnalia wants to impregnate Ciri for time travel purposes. Not the king of, well, I guess he technically is. Then there's the Lodge that wants to marry Ciri off to the Prince of Kovir so that they can control the politics on the continent because of fucking Ciri's genetics. Actually, not her magical ones this time, although they think she can control him a little bit, but more because of her actual heritage and right as Princess of Sintra. There's Leo Bonhart, who just wants to hurt Ciri and kill Witchers. The only one that's in the games are Eredin, who's in the third game, and Dijkstra. Who fucking knows? I put Dijkstra on here with a question mark because Dijkstra just works for his own fucking purposes. Redania, he works for Redania's purposes. Redania fucking strong, man. Alright. A little bit more about the history. This is some stuff most people aren't gonna know, maybe even if they've read the games, or read the books and played the games. Wow, I like how I combined those two into a retard sentence. So, the original inhabitants of the continent were dwarves and gnomes. And there were some ancient monsters, the things that are called relics when you play the games. At some point in time, they called them Enshe, the NL elves travel from another universe to the continent. They were basically attempting to engage in inter-universal conquest. Some of them, however, including Laura Doran, Ciri's ancestor, decided instead to stay. And, oh no, this is later, Laura Doran's later, sorry. But basically, some of the elves who wanted to just conquer shit, they wanted to conquer shit. Some of them just wanted to stay and hang out and inhabit the continent. They generally existed in peace for a long time, and as elven civilization flourishes. And here is the map. Here we have, ooh, which one is this? This is Cadwyn. So Cadwyn's actually, where is what am I trying to show here? Here's Redania. Here is no, this is, excuse me, this is Kovir, Povis, Talgar, Kovir and Povis, and, was it what, I fucking forget the name of that country. Temeria, here's Sidaris, and Vadern, Brugge. Here is Skellige, for people interested. In contrast, there's Vengerberg and Lyria, of which Rivia is the capital, of course. Yeah. Then Sintra's down here, but as you can see, Sintra is all a part of Nilfgaard, because it was conquered by it. Woof. So the NL elves traveled to the continent from Tyrnalia, likely not original home. Oh yeah, they're probably not originally even from Tyrnalia. They're, like I said, they're space-time conquerors. They enslaved humans into actually a sub-race, to an extent. They allow magic to exist, or they have access to magic, which allows for time travel and world travel to exist. They have this access to magic in a way that other people don't. But they split contact. Basically, they stopped trying to invade the continent. They gave up. They got bored. Who knows exactly? It was too much of a hassle. But the elves who maintained became the Enshe, who are the modern elves. Or the elves during the time that the games and novels take place. And they've lost, essentially, their ability to access time and world travel over time, and they're now freaked the fuck out because it means that the White Frost is gonna evaporate their existence. So the Conjunction. The Conjunction fucked a lot of shit up. About 1,000 years before the games and stories take place, a bunch of the universes that exist all came together. Humans, monsters, beasts, everything poured into the continent. It's how humans ended up there. You know, again, it's not exactly sure, like, they came to, when we say the continent, it means one general place, but this is how the fuck they ended up there. Humans had no experience fighting these monsters, and they were unexperienced also with dealing with elves and dwarves and everything else. So it's why Witchers were invented, such as you can call it invented. They started engaging in all of these genetic and mutagenetic experiments in order to create a class of humans to fight monsters. But, you know, because they were thrown into the continent's world, but not onto the continent 1,000 years ago, it's a little bit confusing, all I'm saying. So, but at some point, humans become the dominant race, and in part, that was because they invented witchers. They created witchers. But in the time in which the games take place and the stories take place, witchers have essentially outlived their time. They're a dying species because the world has become so populated and civilized that monsters are kind of a thing of the past. So what are witchers? Again, I've mentioned them several times. Trained since boyhood and induced with mutagens through the trial of grasses, as well as special plants. Ciri was given the plants as a child, by the way. She was given the plants, but not the mutagens. They're nigh immortal. I believe it's stated we don't know how long witchers can live. It's just that they don't live long enough to find out, right? But they were also, yeah, they were pretty much wiped out in addition to them no longer being relevant. 100 years before the games take place, there was a book released called The Monstrum, and you can find these in all of the games, that talks about how witchers are horrific, they're disgusting, they're vile degenerates, and they need to be destroyed. So basically what happened is a bunch of humans rolled up at all the cares and destroyed all the witcher schools. They just burned them down in the middle of the night and killed hundreds and hundreds of witchers. So some of these are only in The Witcher 3, the schools. The ones that are confirmed in the book are Wolf, Cat, and Griffin. The ones that are from The Witcher 3 are Bear, Viper, and Manticore. And again, the quote is, "Witchers never die in their own beds." And hey chat, you can tell me what your favorite school was from The Witcher 3 if you've got one. What is the Elder Blood? Again, Laura Doran, an NL elf. So an elf who's been left behind by the Enshe. Or excuse me, she was an NL. So the NL elves come over from another universe. Falls in love with Creganon of Lod. A human. Ooh, that's naughty. Both humans and elves reject the union, and Laura dies giving birth to Rhiannon. Then there's the Falker Rebellion and the Hotboard triplets, and it's a whole bunch of fucking weird political shit that happens with the children of Rhiannon. She was essentially tied up in a fucking in a prison and forced to give birth. It was really fucked. Look, this is dark fantasy, man. You know what you're gonna expect. But the blood eventually reunites in Calanthe, who had a connection from both bloodlines. And so Ciri is essentially the cultivation of the experiment, the long experiment of reproduction between elves and humans. And then okay, let's get into the White Frost. What is it? I don't know what it is. Again, I said you could... It's destroying not just one universe, but multiple universes at the same time. So, Ethleen's prophecy is that the era of the sword and axe is nigh, the era of the wolf's blizzard. Now remember, Geralt is called the White Wolf. The time of the white frost and the white light is nigh, the time of madness and the time of contempt. Hey, that's one of the books. Ted Dirda. Dirad. Did I read that right? Ted Dirda. Fuck. Time of end. The world will die amidst frost and be reborn with the new sun. It will be reborn of the elder blood of Hankerin, of the seed that has been sown, of seed which not spout, but burst into flame. So Nimue, one of the characters, suggests that it's just global cooling, but we get a very different visual representation of what it is in The Witcher 3. It seems, though, given the fear that's expressed by the NL elves, the Internalia, that it's full-on destruction. So what does Ciri's role in this? What is Ciri's role? That the NL elves want to use her genes to be able to travel between worlds again, both so that they can escape the White Frost and so that they can enslave others like they used to. Again, Vigelforts and the Lodge also want her DNA for different purposes. You had to ask some questions then with Ciri, though. I mean, The Witcher 3 sort of puts a different capstone on this. Ciri wants more than anything to be a witcher. She doesn't want to fuck with the White Frost. She doesn't want her genes to be used in any of these ways. What she wants to do is be like her dad, and fight monsters. So there's a lot of themes of destiny and fate in the Witcher series. So is it wrong of Ciri to buck her fate and say fuck it? I mean, why would it be her fate to be, why would it be her destiny to be tied to Geralt if it wasn't also her destiny to be involved in that in some way or to have a choice? And the question is, yeah, will all worlds, not just one world, but will all worlds perish if Ciri's bloodline ends? Actually, potentially. So, a lot of the books are actually, the later parts of the books are told from the perspective of Nimue, who is a historian, and is writing about a lot of this shit. And you can find Nimue's books in some of the games. So again, the last book, Lady of the Lake, ends with Ciri relaying this whole story of everything that happened to Sir Galahad, and he's off to say, hey, I'm gonna take you back to King Arthur's castle at Camelot. It's kind of Ciri, it's Ciri giving up on her fate, but in a very, to me, unfulfilling way, because it doesn't involve her doing anything with her parents that she's just now been reunited with. Sapkowski did say that Geralt lives, and so him and Yennefer ending up on the island at the end was not their death. It wasn't them being dead, it was them waking up somewhere weird. So in which case the games then do make sense, that if they were both alive, who knows what happened. I think that according to the game's logic, Yennefer gets captured by the Wild Hunt and then Geralt joins them in her place. And yeah, maybe Ciri will have something to do with Cyberpunk, but that's massive speculation. So, what was this? Oh, the future. This might be old information now. Gwent card game. Apparently, did that come out? I don't know. They were saying they're going to actually just produce a card game. I don't know if it's out now. It's been a while. By the way, you should get Eskel and oh my god. And Lambert. Wow. Fucking Eskel and Lambert should totally have had cards like this where they were just high-fiving. I know they get a benefit in Gwent in the game, but they should have had like a high five like this. Lambert's hilarious too. Yeah, Cyberpunk's set to come out, but we haven't seen anything about Cyberpunk since the proposed thing that the song is from came out like 4 years ago? 3 years? No, has it been 4 years? Oh god. There's been some rumors about another game, but there's nothing about it. What I'm not, yeah, so the information on here is really, really outdated. So Sean Daniel Company, Mummy Platage Films announced 2015 they were making a Witcher movie. This has all been moved to Netflix. So all of this information on here is fucking wrong now. Sorry about this. This is all outdated as fuck. It's coming out for Netflix, and Mads Mikkelsen's gonna play Geralt, which again I think is a perfect casting, absolutely perfect casting. The card game is out, Inferno Chill. Thank you. Is it any good? Anyway, I'm trying to wrap this up. Oh, here we go. That's wrapped up. So hey guys, what'd you think? Was this fun to go through a whole bunch of information about a fucking fantasy series? I'm gonna pound through the super chats, and then I'm gonna see if you guys got any questions, because this is the Q&A. Mitch for £2 says, oh, by the way, Foltest is king of Temeria. Did I say Redania? Oh, fuck me. Fucking running. Jesus Christ. 00 Cloud, or 00 Cloud for 5 says, ever read Berserk? Oh, hell yes, I have. When are we ever gonna get off the boat, my fam? We got off the boat, but then things got weird. Things got good, but then they got weird. It's a dark fantasy manga in a European setting. Yeah, I love Berserk. Read it if you like. It's not fantasy, but if you just like manga in a European setting, read Vinland Saga. It's talk about getting off the boat. There's an arc where they just farm for like 100 chapters. It's actually really good though. Charles Meridia 1N for 5 New Zealander bucks says, hey, just wondering, ever read Robin Hobb? No, I have not. I am Sally for 10 says, even though HB is my boy, you'll always be my goy. Aw, thank you, you too. Every time Aiden call out a liberal for being a faggot, an elf Witcher angel gets its wings. Thanks. Thank you, I am Siler. David Henry Posadas for 5 says Aiden is hot. Thanks. I'm actually like, I'm not too hot right now. I was hot when I was wearing the vest. Gravedigger for 2 says Aiden needs to write a fanfic about Geralt. Who says I haven't? And then the Deplorabology, sorry I can't pronounce that for some reason, says, let me give you some of that puddin' pop. Yeah, like, I don't know, whatever. Oh, sorry, I did like fuck up all my sound levels. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna read the chat now. We're gonna go to the end. Well, we can go to the end of the hour or not. We can go. Oh, we can go to the next day. So let's see what's going on. I'm gonna go back up a little bit to where I looked away for a minute. Siri will probably just have a cameo. Probably it's what I'm expecting. Zadania123, so Siri going to Camelot, a metaphor for Polish immigration to England. Oofed! Oofed! Maybe! Huh. Interesting. Let's see. What's my favorite piece of music from The Witcher 3? The Witcher 3 has absolutely fucking fantastic goddamn music. Oh god, I'd have to think. I mean... Oh shit. Blood and Wine, though, it's something from Blood and Wine's soundtrack, because Blood and Wine is so good. I mean, I don't know, I just like the Gwent. I'll just listen to Gwent all day. I used to just listen to the Gwent music all day. That's how much I love it. Bumtown, check out Wake the White Wolf by Miracle of Sound. It's sweet. Is it a song? I will, though. Let me see. Let's see. Let's do it right now. Is it copyrighted, maybe? Usually don't care too much about video game music because it won't pop up because people play video games all the time. Hang on, let's play it real quick. Alright. We're gonna play those guys. Wake the White Wolf by Miracle Sound. Oh shit! I'm gonna have to actually listen to this though. Fuck. Yeah, I'm gonna have to actually listen to this. But I'll just put it on the background for now. That's the kind of shit I like. Where were we? Okay. The rumors Cyberpunk 2077 will be released at this year's E3. Yeah, actually, I got really hyped when I saw that CDPR has signed up to be at E3 this year. They haven't. So, Agent Smith, aren't I supposed to be sick? I'm always sick, but I'm just kind of... I got excited thinking about The Witcher, and I was like, I can power through something. Will the stream be available later? I mismatched the stream, Inferno Chili? Yes, it will. The only reason it would not be is if... immediately is if there's a copyright strike or copyright claim, excuse me, and then I'd have to be like and try to remove it. But Metaphorist said best fantasy I've ever heard of. Look forward to reading it. Please check it out. It's fucking amazing. Poland is one of the roundest countries. It is actually one of the roundest countries. Yeah, the Skellige music is great as well. Have I played Killer 7? Yes, I have. I love Killer 7 and all of Suda 51 stuff. I think my favorite Suda game, though, I mean... Shit, what's my favorite Suda game? Oh, that's impossible. Oh, I don't know. Now, I like thought I had an answer, and then I started to think about it, and I realized I don't think I know what my favorite Suda game is. We'll turn this back on as we end out here, because I'm so fucking... Ugh, whatever. So... Also, yeah, I've got the white hair, so it's the best time to talk about The Witcher, right? Mads Mikkelsen should be working on another season of Hannibal, goddammit. Probably. But I think he's a perfect choice to play Geralt, and I'm very excited for his role in the new, Death Stranding, so... Did Suda do Deadly Premonition? I think, was he involved with it? No. And then my internet's not working, which is funny because I'm streaming, this might be why. I'm gonna do a Bloodborne stream. Interestingly, I've, Never played a Dark Souls game. Never played any of them. I've meant to because they're right up my fucking alley, but I've just avoided them for forever. So I'm not. You guys want to watch me fail at Bloodborne? Is that what you're saying? Because they'll probably do that. I'm actually not very good at video games, to be completely honest. But it's Rory 65, the Deadly Premonition. Yeah. Because that wasn't Suda. Would you? Talma says, would you do a Pathfinder stream or something of the sort? I do every Tuesday on Nakalevi's channel. I play Pathfinder. It's a very, very fun. It's Tales from My Wife's Son. Check it out. Woofed. Why is my internet all of a sudden, or my whatever, suddenly acting up? Okay. Oh, that's why. So, we're gonna answer chat for a little bit here. Let's see. Is Yennefer masking her hunchback with just illusions, or is it fixed entirely with magic? I would again go back to the first time that Geralt meets her in Last Wish, or in the story that's published in Last Wish. It was actually Last Wish was published before the compilation book, but go read the story Last Wish, and Geralt describes his first time seeing her being like, I was like, you know, I am become skeptical a little bit of this, and so I think that there is an illusion going on. But much like much like Triss, it might be that there was magical surgery or something that happened to fix it. In addition, it's made fairly clear that there's something about being a sorceress that causes infertility, so I don't think that it was any kind of magic surgery that caused that for Yen. It just appears to be a general thing, and in particular because it was so odd that Geralt's mother was a sorceress, and they were like, ooh, that's odd, because they're not supposed to do that. They're not supposed to do that. They're not supposed to be able to have children. Gavin says, feminists would be happy you're a female witcher. Nah. Can't be. No female witchers can't pass the trial of grasses. Did I read anything on the Elric books? No, I've really meant to. I know that, again, like I've said, they're a, that Sepkalski heavily borrowed, but, I just love this universe so much that I'm kind of okay with the borrowing. Dragon's Dogma's great. Dragon's Dogma is really good. Make Ciri cosplay with this hair. I'm too old to cosplay Ciri, honestly, because she's... Even in The Witcher 3, she should be like 17. I'm not 17. Let's see, where are we going? Let me look at a couple of things real quick. Hey, and by the way, thanks. Oh my god, now my computer froze. Oh, no, it didn't. Okay. Thanks everybody for coming by and sitting through a long fucking stupid... Whoops, not that one. That one. And the stream's starting soon. Things been there the whole time. Whoopsie. So professional. Sitting through this, if you guys enjoyed it, thanks. I really appreciate it. But I mostly just thought this would be a fun way to spend Friday night, since I was sitting there talking. I got so excited trying to describe the family relationship between Yennefer, Geralt, and Ciri to Sinatra, and he was trying to go to sleep, and I was like, I don't want to keep you up. So I thought, maybe, you know, we can have some fun. People seem to enjoy them other things, so yeah. I don't know if we'll do this every week, but it will either be probably on a Friday or a Saturday, and it might be every week or probably every other week, depending. I know that this is like a weird thing, maybe compared to my normal content, but I do think that it's similarly informative and a bit more interactive and maybe just fun. I don't know. You guys give me your feedback. The next one will probably be the Metal Gear stream. The only other one that I would want to do maybe before Metal Gear might have to be split into two because it's really long. No, we just do for 2 hours. I can do that panel in an hour, so yeah. The other one that I want to do is Dragon Dragoon, otherwise known as Drakengard, which is otherwise known as Nier. but I have to update that panel since Nier Automata came out, and I haven't played it. What am I drinking? I am, of course, because we are talking about The Witcher, drinking some delicious Sobieski vodka, the only vodka I drink, Polska Silna. Okay, let's see. What do we got? Take care, best wishes. Thanks, guys. Popog says, add more graphics to the next presentation, please. There weren't enough graphics? It's so many graphics. Oh my god, like all the pictures that are rotating now are pictures from the presentation for the most part. It's awesome learning new things. And I think like some of these things too is that my favorite Malazan character. Oh shit. It's been so long since I've read Malazan. I didn't think about that actually, because I'm not sure. And actually, like, when I was looking at that slide where I recommended other things, I was like, fuck, I couldn't even remember what Kavoth's name was. I can't think of anybody's... Well, I'm not good at names. Or Caliban. I couldn't remember from yeah, shit, I'm not good at... Like, I know the characters in my head, but then I'm trying to think of their names. It's like, oh, fuck. If you guys... Though, I would absolutely recommend all those 3 novel series. Particularly for me, Stormlight Archive, I think, is the best. Stormlight Archive and everything written by Brandon Sanderson is fucking fantastic. If you're a fan of fantasy and you like great big sprawling fantasy universes, you can't do better than Sanderson. He's actually kind of nuts, because I don't know how he does it. He writes this insane shit in the period of... I guess he's me, where he just goes crazy. Yeah, he's nuts on that. Gravedigger needs to join Sargon of Akkad in his D&D game. I was invited to join that game, I chose not to because I don't feel comfortable playing with people I don't know that well, and I don't know Sargon. I barely know V. I like Arch a lot, but I don't know him that well. I went and I did the game with Naka because I knew Naka and Layman, so I felt comfortable doing that. Look up the Witcher School LARP School. UNHP can use your YouTube fortune to go there and check it out, huh? Hello, Ball Fantasy. I might have to bail on Metal Gear as a veteran and take offense. Read Butthurt at J. Hipster Kojima's asinine interpretation of war and combat, like a virgin lecturing Lady Chatterley. Oh no, absolutely. Kojima has no clue what the fuck he's talking about when he talks about war. Changed. He has a very simplistic understanding of a lot of things, but military in particular. I kind of find it cute and charming that he's so confused, but I can see how it could be perceived either way. Bumtown, if you like Sanderson, check out Brent Week's Lightbringer Saga. I fucking will. I love Sanderson. So have you read have I read ASOA, Song of Ice and Fire? Yes, I have definitely read A Song of Ice and Fire. I used to be really into it, and Germ, that fat fuck, needs to fucking finish it before he dies of fat. But A Song of Ice and Fire is kind of like the antithesis to The Witcher, where A Song of Ice and Fire, I struggle all the time feeling with the characters of being like, oh, I hate you, and I hate what's happening, it's boring, and this is very difficult to get through, but I'm so interested in the plot and the world that I'm interested, that I'll keep, you know, chugging through it. Whereas with The Witcher, there's no moments. I can't think of... Maybe some of the stuff with Ciri when she's with the rats, I was a little bit struggling, because she's, like, engaging in lesbian relationships and there's some weird shit that I don't like. But for the most part, there's no moment in the Witcher books where I didn't care about the character. There is no Brienne of Tarth chapters where she goes around being like, hello, I'm looking for a maid of 4 and 10 with auburn hair or whatever she says, and it's just over and over and over. It's like, we know where Sansa is, the audience, we the reader, knows where Sansa is, and then there's thousands, fucking like 50 chapters where Brienne goes through and is looking for Sansa. This is not good writing when the audience knows what's supposed to be going on. I'm not saying Sapkowski's a genius, because he certainly fucks up a whole bunch, but making all these, I'm looking for Maid of 4 and 10, like, oh, you spent an entire book on it, and there's no Tyrion chapters in that book, and I know Tyrion gets like way too much love, but ooh, you fucking, not good. Not good writing, Gurm. Also, his incessant focus on describing food is weird, and his way that he writes sex scenes is disturbing and awful. Particularly if you're interested in listening to the A Song of Ice and Fire audiobooks, which I have as well, because I used to like to listen to them in the background, which are read by a 90-year-old man. And so when Grandpa Storytime is trying to read to you about Sam's fat pink mast and how her cunt became the world and Danny's loose shits, that's awful. That is goddamn awful, but also very funny. So, given you brought up Dragon earlier, I have to ask you, what's your favorite character? Oh, Kime. Oh, Kime, absolutely. Kime is a sociopath. I love him. When you include Nier and stuff, it would be Kime or Zero or... And Kime more than Zero. I love Zero, but still Kime. Maybe Kaine? Kime or Kaine, one of the two. Oh, fuck. I'm going to end in like 3 minutes, guys, so real quick, let me read up anything else we have left. Not only does Triss not tell Geralt about his loved ones, she could have restored his memories at any time and chose not to. Very true. Thank you, Shawnee7488. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I despise Triss. When you start to realize what she did to Geralt, it's repulsive. You ever do a stream of Romance of the Three Kingdoms? The story itself, or there's games based on it? I'm not sure. When are you doing your next DC meetup at Dread Cassowary? I'm probably not going to be back to DC in a long time. I don't know when. Jima's never interacted with another human being, says Josiah Humphreys. Don't doubt it. Sorry, I'm just trying to... Check out Black Company by Glenn Campbell. I've heard it's fantastic. It's been recommended to me so many times. I just haven't gotten around to reading it. Alec Ondushko, hey man, wow, thank you so much for the 50, holy shit. Sorry I missed most of the stream, Aiden, really need to finish Witcher 3. Definitely lives up to the praise. Fingers crossed for CD Projekt Red's current project. Like your choice of hair color, looks cool. Kojima's such a dork. Thank you, and yeah, Kojima is a dork. I actually have a clip, on my refrigerator, a cutout from, I believe, PC Gamer or some other thing that was from their April Fool's month, and so it's an actual printed picture from a magazine that says, it's a picture of Kojima, and it just says, I do not believe that games are art, nor will they ever be art. And it's something about the irony of that that really makes me laugh. Bumtown 1 says, I feel like Sanderson and Gurm should race. See if Sanderson finishes Stormlight Book 10 before Gurm finishes Song of Spring. Sanderson will finish 5 books before Gurm finishes fucking taking a shit. So, oofed. Oh fuck, okay. I'm gonna end in a second, guys. Okay, so Popod graphs! I don't have any graphs. We're talking about fantasy and fiction and literature and stuff, so I can't. You could have some graphs, but, I don't know. The story and the games are basically the same. Oh, okay. I'll have to, I'll think about it though, but I've never really read it. I've been told to a million times, but I haven't. God, my voice is so fucked, I'm actually vocal frying, which I don't do. What about that? As Zidania123, as a communication scholar, what do you think of Skullface post-colonial philosophy and the idea that spread of English is reducing diversity of thought? Skullface had a really cool potential. I think it's because Kojima got pulled off the project and was forced to like work in a shed. That's me being hyperbolic, but he was forced to work without being able to contact the rest of his staff for at least a year, essentially. If you look into the shit that happened in Konami, it's an absolute nightmare. go check out Yang Ya channel for more information on that. He's a Kojima fanboy. To put it nicely, I love his stuff, but he follows Kojima very, very closely and knows a lot about it. Dread Cassowary, you make us Marylanders sad, but as a fellow sci-fi, keep up what you're doing. Talk about the Lunar series next. Holy shit, I love Lunar. It would be fun to do. Have you read, if you like cape shit, have you read Worm? No, I have not. I do like cape shit though, but it's not my favorite thing. Anyway, it's midnight. We have now passed at least where I am. So, oofed. At this point, I'm gonna stop. Sorry guys. Thank you, no HP Lovecraft love. One last thing, guy. The ZXKUQYB. In October of last year, I released a three-part series on horror, discussing its psychology, and I talk very extensively about Lovecraft, so I love Lovecraft. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this a little bit, and if it's been positive in the side chat, but you know, tell me in the comments when the video goes up if you like me doing these streams like once a week or probably once every other week of just going through and talking about fandom shit, because I'm a great big giant turbo nerd and I got a hell of a lot I could talk about. Anyway, thank you guys so much for being here and joining me, and I'll turn the Bold.